Yeah, cheers. It's the way I kind of try and describe that to people is that Chris either plays keyboard or guitar, but if there's two guitars, it means there's no keyboard when we play live. So I don't regard the keyboard as a backing instrument or a rhythm section instrument. He's right up there as if he's the second guitarist. So we like that. It kind of gives us our kind of sound, and it's similar to the Doors. They're the one guitar and the keyboard, but we're a bit heavier probably than the Doors and all the rest of it. But it's that kind of thing. So we like having him up there, and he's the musical one. He's the talented one. So it's kind of cool. He knows the music part. We just play it.
Right on. So, you know what, between both EPs, obviously, I mean, I know this is kind of cliche to the title, Evolve, but you guys have evolved a little bit, and you've gotten a more tighter, more prominent as a band. Now, with that being said, how have you guys feel you've changed a little bit, or just kind of alter things just a little bit, kind of like a smooth flow, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think every band grows, and the longer you stay with people and play with them, the more you develop your kind of style and direction and everything else. For us, the major thing was when we started writing the last EP, there was only two of us, so we set the band up, me and Jay the singer, and started writing some songs and writing the parts and thinking about who we were going to recruit and which direction we were going to go in, and a little way through Chris joined on keys, and so that added a whole dynamic to it. James, the bass player, joined quite late, so I actually played bass on two of the songs on the first EP.
Oh, nice.
Up and down, and then he came in, and you can tell the difference. Funnily enough, the two that we still play live are the two where he plays bass, because they're better. Because I'm not a bass player, but it's just kind of you evolve like that. So ours is a bit unique, or well, probably not unique, but different in the sense that we really wanted to write it and get something out there and kind of recruit band members off the back of it and do a kind of early Foo Fighters sort of thing, I guess. In the way that Dave Grohl just recorded everything and then
then got the band afterwards.
Yeah.
And
we recorded our first EP before we'd even played live, which we've never done. We normally play like 3 years worth of gigs and then go, we ought to record some of this. We did it completely backwards for whatever reason.
Oh man, if it works, it works, right? Like don't.
Yeah, that was it. It just felt right.
That pretty much answers part of my question, because I was going to ask how the dynamic of the band works. Like, what do people bring to the table as far as like songwriting? Is that all a huge collaboration, or does it just come with different ideas first and then you work on things after?
Every part has a purpose, and everyone's very good at what they do. So, I've played guitar for a long time. I'm an alright guitarist. I'm not technically very good, but I'm okay, and I can write kind of riffs and stuff. But I couldn't sit at home and write a whole song on my own, really. I tried that when I was younger, and they all sounded like Nirvana songs,
right.
Which is fine, but I'm not Kurt Cobain. So, so I might write a riff, or Evolve, the title track off of this, started with the bass riff. James just put this thing down, and then we started. I think the drums came next, and then I fiddled around and come up with some guitar bits, and then it was keys and then vocals. But other songs, might start with keys or guitars or even a drum beat. Always About You off the EP started with the drum beat, and then we put the riff around it. So it varies, but everyone writes a part.
Right.
And that's why I think these songs are better than the last. I like the last EP, don't get me wrong, but the two where I'm playing bass, they're a guitarist playing bass, whereas the two where I'm not, you can tell he's a bass player right up there, and you can actually hear the bass line. And that's kind of what we've done on all 5 of these songs, so they're just better. We don't intentionally start to write a song necessarily, it's just something will happen, and someone will go, let's grab that, that's probably quite us, and play with it, and then it changes.
Well, you know what, the songwriting process is always an interest to me, because it can happen in the most routine way, or it could happen in the most random way. So it always makes, whether it's like a short story or a long story, it's always usually good, because you never know where that background is coming from. So it always kind of makes me spikes my interest. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, and you know what? It works differently for different people. So if there's plenty of people out there where, I know a few guys in bands where they are the people that write every single part, and then they go to the band and they go, right, you're playing this, you're playing this, you're playing this. So like Oasis did that apparently. So it's not just it's famous bands as well as Simon Grassroots bands. That's how some people work. it just doesn't work for me or for us. We prefer to jam it out. That works really well for us, and that's kind of cool. But there's no right or wrong way. Whatever.
Obviously not. No,
works for you.
There's so many different formats.
The song you want, really.
Pretty much. I mean, there's so many different formats to the way people write songs. You know, sometimes it's right at the top of their head. Sometimes you have an idea in your head, like myself, because like I'm just like a kind of a part-time guitar player, right? So a lot of times, you know, the only time I write down a song is when I have like something pops in my head. But at the same time too, is I have to write it down and do it that minute. Because if I don't, I'll forget it, and then it's completely lost.
Yeah, yeah, I do that so often. But I do that. But I never write whole songs. I do that with riffs and whatever. And I've got loads of recordings on my phone of, you know, these riffs on, you know, whatever acoustic guitar I had next to me at the time, quickly written down. And you think, oh, that'd probably sound really nice with electric. We'll do that.
Oh man, I
some
can't.
of them turn into tracks and we record.
I can't tell you how many times I've tried to rewrite a song and just set a different tone for the same like riff I've been using for I don't know how many years, and just like still doesn't sound good to me. So it's kind of frustrating in some cases.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, there's loads of there's a couple of really good kind of bits of songs that we've had for ages, but whether or not they need a complete rewrite or we just, you know, stop trying. But some things just never quite turn into songs, you know. So maybe one day we'll be one of these bands that hasn't made up, you know, rare stuff and B-sides or whatever.
Right.
You know, 10 and 15 years we might release a load of half-assed recordings or something, which, you know, some people might really like. You know, like, I'm a big Nirvana fan, and my favourite Nirvana stuff is like, you know, all the B-sides and all the
right.
They did that Hormoning EP they released in Japan, and Incesticide. That's the best stuff because it's really raw.
And in Incesticide, the way that was done, actually, the producer said, okay, we can play a game of pool. It goes, if you beat me, it goes, I'll do it for free. If you lose, then you're paying for it. They're like, you know what? Probably can't beat you, so we're just gonna pay for it. And
awesome. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, no, it was in one of the books. Like I love my rock biographies, so I found a lot of info that way as well as online. And just two more things. Speaking of B-sides, I was listening to Smashing Pumpkins B-sides. It's a double CD, and it's called one CD because it's a double CD. One's called Judiso, so JUDS-O, and the other one's called Forgotten Apples. So it's a mix of like, you know, number one singles and B-sides, and there's some really good stuff on there. And so there's that, and just because I was listening to it recently, and it really stuck out. And on the mention of Nirvana, I'm a huge Nirvana fan as well. I sold my tickets up for when I sold them for the Euro tour, so it's like one of my prized possessions.
Brilliant.
So, but the point I was getting to is there's this punk ska band's been around for at least 20 years plus, and the band's called Goldfinger, and they have a song on one of their albums, and the song's called Fuck LA, and there's during the bridge, the kind of breakdown part, he says, I've got more bikes stolen than Nirvana has songs about heroin. I was like, oh man. It's like that it makes me chuckle every time I hear that song. So I just wanted to make two kind of correlations to what we were talking about there. So we're gonna get to another song off Evolve. This one's called 3 Days, 1 in 5. Dig this.
Father, I tell you, judgment day is near.
1-in-5 with 3 days. Now this tune I really liked, very, very catchy to start out with, but the thing that stood out to me the most was in the first like 30 seconds to a minute is the soloing, just the tonality to it really reminded me of old 311, and I'm a huge 311 fan, at least the older stuff, and off their album Transistor, so that's what it reminded me of, just that those certain parts, like just like I said, the tonality and the different scales you guys were turning up there. I was like, that reminds me of old 311. That was really cool, and I really dug that song.
Oh, cool, nice. That's good. I think that one was one of the. That's the first song I think we've recorded where there's no keys at all. Mm-hmm. So we really wanted to play on having 2 guitars. We didn't want to be a band that sounds boring with 2 guitars. We wanted to be exciting. So
right.
It's got all the little licks in it. The actual main solo, halfway through it switches. So I do the first half and then Chris does it. And it's kind of... I was actually listening to a lot of Brave New World by Iron Maiden.
Nice.
It's kind of the heavier side of what I like to listen to. I mean, I like all sorts, but I was listening to that and I kind of wanted to do this harmony thing. Yeah, wrote all the harmonies of Chris and then stuff like that. So that's cool. It's I've never written a song that's quite so rocky.
All right.
so it's kind of cool to do, and it's great fun to play live. People like that live and like it. So yeah, it's cool.
Well, you know, speaking of Iron Maiden, my buddy Mike G, who's done a couple of NMS shows with me, is a huge Iron Maiden fan, and
cool.
So yeah, he's gone to see them quite a number of times, and we've talked about it quite a few times, and he potentially might be joining me later tonight. We'll see if that happens, but yeah, I just thought of that because that's one thing we talk about, because we both short and skinny is we both have dogs, so we take them to the dog park and take them for a run, let them play a little bit. So when they're doing whatever they want, you know, we're talking about music and that and sort of stuff, and we always talk about it because he Mike through and through is a metalhead for sure, hands down.
Awesome, cool. Yeah, it sounds like someone I'd get on with actually.
Yeah, well, I was hoping.